Then I did all the Christian stuff, and I will be honest with you, it was just took me less 2 inches deep with the Lord. But it wasn't until I connected with deep spirituality, with slow down spirituality, like some people call it, when you just really abandon yourself and go deeper. Then I found myself not blaming people or the culture or the devil, but I started to see God's love for a broken man like I am.
Why do you like to work with church leaders?
You cannot just say, teach this to your people. Okay, this is how be, a better Christian. No, if you are, it's contagious. It's who you are, not what you teach, right? There's a lot of quotes about it. Hey, it's not who you say you are, it's what you really are.
Hi, everybody. This is Dan Chan, and you are at the HIMYM Podcast. Welcome. And we call it the HIMYM Podcast because it's put on by Hawaiian Islands Ministries, known as HIM. And this is our chance when we get to meet some of the great thought leaders of the world, to learn more about faith, about life in general. And today, what a special guest. We have Fernando Castillo, the new Executive Director of Hawaiian Islands Ministries. Welcome, Fernando.
Aloha, Dan. Nice to be here.
Amazing that Fernando's here. And, Pam and I are just so thrilled. We're on cloud 9 that God in His sovereignty and providence chose you to be the one to receive the baton after Pam and I started this 40 plus years ago.
Likewise, me and my wife were so thrilled, excited about this opportunity to serve God, first and foremost, and of course the precious people of Hawaii, and we love so much. So it's a dream coming true.
And what people may not know is that Fernando and I were in a small group together of pastors, billion years ago, meaning many years ago, and we were in that group for about 12 years at least. That. And that was so neat, and we started that. He was in the very first group, so we've known each other a long time and trusted one another. And he was on the very first compassion trip I took to Manila with 22 pastors. And so he has that heart of compassion in him, Compassion International, and rescuing children from poverty in Jesus' name. And he's a lover of the Alpha Course. Again, another DNA core value. But welcome, Fernando.
Thank you, Dan.
So incredible. So let's do a quick bio for everybody to get to know Fernando, and then I have some fun questions at the very end.
There you go.
Yeah. So tell us about your family, where you were born, about your wife, your kids, and your dog.
Absolutely. I was born and raised in Colombia in South America. I think my accent probably tells a little bit of that story. When I was 24, I completed a degree in architecture, and I felt really for those of us that are in ministry, the call of God to be in that level of service. So I moved to the U.S. As a student. So when people ask me, so are you legal or illegal? So they're like, no, I'm legal. I came the right way.
Oh, I'm glad.
Nice
to know if you were.
Yeah, because some people can be worried about that. So I came as a student. I was in Great Bible College in California. And while I was there, I reconnected with my wife's family, which a few years before, they were missionaries in Colombia. My wife was born in Colombia. And they were relocated in the U.S. by then when I came to the U.S. So our families were really close. Her parents started actually a church in my parents' home when growing up. So I known my wife since she was 10 years old, and I'm 5 years older than her. So there was no loving magic back then.
Yeah,
but
you weren't dating her then,
no,
I hope.
No. But our families were really, really close. My parents and her parents were really close friends. So we always had that family relationship. And when I moved to the U.S., they were in Northern California, in the East Bay area, pastoring there. And my school was in Southern California. So they invited me to come up on spring break. And I went there and I saw Karen, when she was 19. I was 24. And that's when the spark started to, I like to say that it was a setup. Her parents were trying to set me up. So, and I got confirmed a few years later when they admitted it. Then, they were trying to set us up.
Amazing.
They were praying for it. So, we've been dating since we got married in 1999. because I was worried that 2000 will come in the end of the world and I will be single. So I needed to get that done. So, and we've been married now 26 years. We've been all over the place. We lived in Southern California. That's when our first one was conceived and born. Daniel, he's 23. Great young man.
Name.
Yeah,
Great name.
Daniel is a great name. It's Daniel Fernando, so it's a great combo. It's like HIM combo, leadership combo.
Yeah.
So,
Fernando.
Yeah, there we go. So he's a great kid. Then our second one was born here in Hawaii, David Joshua. And my second one, when he was about 4 years old, that's when we noticed a lot of things that were not normal. And actually, that's when the first diagnosis of being in the spectrum with autism. So it's been a roller coaster ride of emotions, all for the glory of God. We have drawn closer as a family to the Lord because of David coming into our lives. It's just amazing what the gifting he is for all of us. And then a few years went by, and then when my kids now are 15, 14, we here in Hawaii, we started a church here in Hawaii for many years. We were pastors, and then it was time to, we were starting to feel like the Lord was wanting us to move in a service to pastors. And the denomination that I was part of, we have the title is a supervisor. It was when you start to oversee other churches and pastors. So we accepted that. We started here overseeing some churches in Hawaii, about 50 churches. And then they asked me, would you move to the mainland to oversee 250 churches? And our first option was like, no way, we're not going to do this. But, we knew as we were seeking the Lord about it, and it was what he wanted. So we found out at that time that we were pregnant with our third one. So there's a big gap. There's a 14-year gap between our second and our third child. So we kind of became like parents, grandparents almost, that we feel like because the energy level with our little one, it was like, oh my goodness.
Every time you have a job change, Karen gets pregnant.
Exactly. So this one,
don't surprise me on this one.
No, this one, I mean, Jesus have mercy. So, but what is interesting talking about that, even though there was not that another child in that way, the Lord had put in our hearts for many years to become foster parents. So as we moved to the mainland, and now I did that supervisory work, we were waiting for the Lord to give us the okay when it was time to do that. So my season with that role ended about 2021. That's when we moved to Nashville. I started a business in real estate. I flip homes. That's the best way to describe it. I buy homes, renovate them, and sell them.
We should say you have an architectural degree.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
So
and that
you
that
know
helps.
What you're doing.
That helps a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know what I'm doing, but it helps a little bit. And we're doing well. And then I went to Vanderbilt for a master's program in leadership and organizational development. And through that, I really find my desire to serve leaders and organizations as a consultant. So I started a small boutique consulting firm. And during that time, the Lord opened the door for us to become foster parents. So we welcome into our home our fourth one. It's a 16-year-old boy from Honduras. And he's amazing. He's been now 5 months, almost 5 months with him. And he feels like he's been part of our family for many, many, many years. It's just a blessing. And
we should mention that's the reason why initially for this first year you'll be flying in from Nashville once a month.
Correct.
And spending a week, but you can't move the family yet.
Correct.
Not that you don't want to, but because of governmental restrictions.
Yeah, there's some things then, those of you that are familiar with foster care, some of these kids have so much trauma accumulated through the years, a lot of rejection trauma, abuse. So we didn't want it to disrupt, again, his life with saying, "Hey, sorry, I had a job in Hawaii. We're moving, so you cannot come," because he's also we have to help him to resolve his documentation. He came as a 10-year-old by himself, if you believe it, from Honduras by himself.
Incredible.
At 10 years old.
He walked by himself.
He walked by himself with a group of people from the town that they came from. So you imagine the trauma. So we didn't want to contribute that. So from the very beginning, as we started the process applying for this position, I was always very honest about this. Hey, I will not be able to move until this time, when he will be of age, when he can make decisions on his own, when he probably will have now his documentation part resolved and legal status resolved. And HIMYM has been very gracious to allow me to do the work.
We're so excited. We so much want you, so we don't mind. And in a past executive director we had, Mary Vincent, worked remotely from Virginia.
I know,
for some
and
time,
I know Mary very
would
well.
Fly in once a week also. So we're used to this, but we so much want you. We're willing to go through this transition to wait for you. So let's just summarize here.
Yeah.
You went to Bible college,
Yeah.
right? Then you got a architectural degree. That was next, and now you're working.
No, but before. First architecture.
Oh, okay.
Then the Bible degree.
Oh, then the Bible degree. And then now another master's in leadership and organizational development.
Correct.
From the famous business school in Vanderbilt University. So you're going to come like super skilled to help local church leaders.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, no pressure, man.
No
we expect
pressure.
miraculous things. And so, then how did you feel called to ministry?
Well, that's a great
Did
question.
you grow up in a Christian family, so
Yes.
you already were a follower of Christ, or how does that
that's
work?
a great question.
But-
I grew up in Colombia. Everybody's born Catholic. You just
Okay.
born into
Okay.
it, right? It's
You
the
start
culture.
off. You start off Catholic.
Correct.
Okay.
And then I attended a Catholic private school, and it was from the early on, as I remember my early memories. There's always been a sense of God's presence in my life, even through that tradition as well. And it was more. I mean, I mentioned, everybody's born into it. It's a cultural thing. It's not really a spiritual experience yet. But I felt, since I was probably 4 or 5, the voice of God, the presence of God in my life. My parents were very young, immature. They were dealing with so much things on their own, so it wasn't a healthy place for themselves.
In Colombia.
In Colombia, I would say, as a way to look for hope, I just turned to God at that age. So I knew that God had a purpose in my life. I wouldn't say calling yet, but definitely there was a sense that God loved me, and
amazing.
And I felt love from God at a very young age. Even attending Catholic school, it was a little tough. I was bullied and many things, but I remember turning to God. My parents were not in a healthy place to be able to come to them and say, I have trouble in school or whatever. So I turned to God, and I always had this closeness with the Lord, as much as I could have it with the tools that I have through my Catholic upbringing. But then my parents end up going through a big separation and then my mom started to attend a more Christian evangelical church on the Pentecostal tradition. And my mom starts to take us to church. And I was probably around 7 or 8 or 9. Around that time, my dad was not in the picture. My dad comes back home. He receives the Lord, but there's not a lot of transformation in his life for a few years. But all I have is Jesus. So, about 12, 13 is when I really felt God's presence. And you would love this part. I was watching TV, of all things, because I didn't have too much of a social life. Even though at 12, 13, I was bullied. My mom, mostly my mom and my dad, they were highly protective of ourselves. We grew up in Colombia in a time where it was a lot of, the famous violence of the 80s.
And why were you bullied?
Mostly because, I wasn't like the talented kid.
Yeah, but you're 6 feet tall today, so
Well, no,
you
I
weren't
wasn't
small
back then. I was probably an obnoxious kid. I wasn't probably the kid that all the other kids would look at it. Over there at that time, you're someone if you can play soccer, and I love soccer, but I wasn't that good. So, and I was trying to get in. I always trying to be like be accepted. So I didn't know how to. So
darn, those campus jocks, they still rule the campus, man.
Then run me down. Then part of my faith, because I always wear my faith right in front of me. And I was the only Christian evangelical in my Catholic school back then. Now Colombia has changed a lot, and there's a lot of, there's been a huge revival in the last 20, 25 years. So there's a lot more of Christianity and Catholicism co-living together in the culture. But back then it was a little bit of that. But I had a great priest in the school that really saw that, and he always approached me and loved me, and in a way that he was genuine, like a good, really amazing Catholic priest should. He was genuine. He was so pure, and he said, "Man, I wish all the Catholic kids can live the faith the way that you live it." And at Mass, I was I attended Mass because it was part of obligation for the school requirements. But I used the time at Mass to get closer to God. So I loved it.
This is great.
And so I had that, and I was about 12, 13. I was telling you, I was watching a TV, and then a movie called For Fury to Freedom. It was one of the first movies then the Billy Graham Association put together. And it's about the life of a pastor, Raul Reese.
Oh, Raul Reese.
Correct.
Of Calvary Chapel.
Correct. So they did a movie of his life, and it was like my dad's lifestyle. And when you get engaged, and he's like a guy in a motorcycle and a kind of gangster and kind of thing, and now he comes to Jesus, and he's about to kill himself in this movie, and then he's watching Billy Graham's message on TV, and he puts his gunshot like his weapon on the side, and he gives his heart to the Lord. And I'm there 12, 13, just after watching this. It's like, even though my life has nothing to do with his, I understood, and the God of the universe then I knew was there was way closer than what I thought. And on my knees, I was
a real turning point.
A real turning point. And I told, Lord, you do whatever you want with me. And from 12, 13, I was on fire for Jesus. I was that weird teenage kid.
Oh, no, you get bullied some more then.
Oh, yes, because I would wear the cross T-shirts and the things, and people were like, you're weird. And I wasn't obnoxious with my faith, but I was the kid that didn't curse in school. I was the kid, and I was always kind of morally upright. The bullying turned into like, we think you're gay because you're not talk about girls the way that we do. So I got a lot of that, but then the work of God in that time was about him helping me to deal with all that stuff. Wow. And then it started changing. Then I blossomed all physically, emotionally. Then I became a really good soccer player. So everybody's like, oh, now you're part of it. We're not going to bully you anymore. And the last 2 years in high school were amazing. I was so engaged in my youth group, and that's when I always felt called to lead, but in a way that honors God. I always knew that whatever it is, I never thought about pastorate or things like that, but I knew...
Or being a priest.
But I thought about...
Karen was happy for that.
Yeah. But I always thought, I know God is calling me to something that has to do with serving people, serving him. Wow. And I didn't know.
Hey, this is Dan Chun. I just wanted to jump in and say, hey, if you enjoy this show, why don't you go to that button on the screen and hit subscribe? And then you can become part of the HIMYM family, and you can continue to hear these wonderful, awesome speakers that we present, because we're all on a learning journey.
Wow. So right after high school, I went to military school.
Oh, really?
I went to the West Point of Colombia,
really?
the school of the college for military training. I was only there 1 year, and I realized this is not for me. And it's not because I love the military discipline and all that. This is 1990. This is the heat of the narco wars in Colombia that many people probably are familiar with. And the corruption had permeated all areas of government. And as a cadet, I already saw how rotten it was, the culture there. And even though I love the military and I love the country and all that stuff, I said, I cannot stay here. My faith is that's when my first shocking moment with my faith came in, when I had to decide I need to figure this out.
Asking God which way.
And the Lord said, no, it's okay to leave. And
that's when you went to Bible?
No, I went to architecture
school.
school.
Was architecture school.
And I loved that. That was a great time. I was blossoming as a young adult. I was very involved in the young adult group in my church. I loved it. And then is when, right at the end of my architecture degree, I was thinking about what I'm going to do next. And I had a great opportunity to start with a big company in Colombia with a developer there. And the Lord says, no, just leave everything, go serve me. You're going to be a pastor. I told my parents that, and they're totally like, what? After all you have done, study, you want to go back and be a pastor? My parents at that time were pastors too. So it's like, no, you
don't do what we do.
Exactly. So, but they understood, and that's when I took my Abraham calling thing, leave your home and your country and move to this place where I show you. And I came with the intention actually to be a missionary. That's why I moved to study, mostly to be missionary, not knowing that my mission work would be in the U.S.
Yeah, so you did go overseas.
Correct.
To another country.
I went, yeah.
So can we fast forward
to
now? What attracted you to coming back to live in Hawaii? Mm-hmm. What attracted you about the HIMYM position? Because here, you'd been here, you founded C4.
Correct.
Right? Then you went to the mainland, you were district supervisor, then you went to Nashville.
Yeah.
But somehow God spoke to you and Karen saying, I would like you to move back to Hawaii. How did that happen?
Oh my gosh, Dan, that's a great question. And as a pastor, we always have stories. We try to spiritualize things, not because we want to, it's just because that's how we see life, right? The lens. So those of you that are watching us and have a Christian background, you probably will relate to how I got there. So when I was here in Hawaii, as you mentioned, I founded a church called C4, and it was 14 years that were so special. Mm-hmm. It's not the perfect church. We're not the perfect pastors, but it gave us, this is where my spiritual DNA was really, really developed. We fell in love with the people of Hawaii. It sounds like a little bit of a cliche, but it's true. And it wasn't...
And the church grew.
Oh, my goodness.
You're well-known. Your church is well-known in Honolulu.
Yeah, and that wouldn't even matter. But I grew. I drew closer to the Lord. I had the best friends that you could ever imagine and ask for, in clergy. You mentioned the group that we had. That was a life gift from the Lord to have a group of brothers. Then we can be ourselves and help each other, not compete with one another.
And it was crazy. It was called the Young Pastors Accountability Group.
Correct.
And you guys are all in your 30s. And who would have... God's wildest provision that out of that group comes the person who's going to
and he was sponsored by HIMYM.
Yeah.
We came to you and asked you, can you help us? And you sponsored us, and we met in the conference room in the old HIMYM office, which is interesting. You still have that same table conference there.
You do? Oh my gosh.
And I sat on it yesterday.
We need more donations, everybody.
We sat there, and I remember all the tears, all the amazing times where the Lord met us there in those meetings.
Unbelievable. Same table.
Correct.
I totally forgot.
So when...
Memories.
Yeah. So when my year... I usually like to do what many probably do is every year, Lord, what do you want kind of thing. And I was very well established in Nashville. My real estate business is going well. My son is coming back from a season in California by himself. He says, I want to learn your business. And I said, absolutely, come and I'll teach you. So I already have my plans for 2026 to dive into mentoring my son to take over our business. And now I've seen the opportunity to start this consulting firm.
Right.
God had God gave me favor with the little projects that I was having. And when you start those projects, you do a lot of work for free, pretty much. That's how you enter. Like many things that you start, you have to at least get your foot at the door. But I had plans I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to start looking at marketing and creating a brand of consulting, boutique consulting firms. And I was not looking even really work for churches, because I saw also, as you mentioned, as an alpha fan of what it means to get into the world that probably is not pursuing God, but still have curiosity and questions about God. I saw that side of my calling to be able to get in the door and have opportunities as an executive coach, as a consultant. Because I discovered then, and many people are discovering this, there's a lot of hunger for the things of God out there.
I mean, you have all these things percolating. So what brought you back here to say,
I was doing a wedding here for my best friend's son in May. And one of our board members here in HIMYM, who's a dear friend of mine, says, "Hey, do you know then we're looking for an executive director?" And I said, "Oh, wow, that's great. I wish you the best." And he goes, "No, I want you to apply to it." It's like, no way. I don't want, no. I mean, no, I told him, "Hey, I already made my plans.
Yeah, you listed
already
all these things.
I'm out of." And my friend goes, "Hey, you should at least pray about it. Talk to your wife about it." And I said, "Sure, I will." And I actually do, because especially when he's a good friend like him, yes. So I went and talked to God about it, and I start feeling like this peace about it. I talked to my wife about it, and my wife goes, "Hey, we need to be open about this." It's like, oh my gosh, you're open about this? So I come to this wedding with a different perspective. I meet with you. We had a little talk and what you guys were looking for, and I decided, okay, we're gonna apply for this. And if this is not, I have so many things. Then they're gonna say, no, we cannot do this. No, so I said, hey, if it's the Lord, I'm not gonna put pressure on it. I'm not gonna hustle this. It's not something that I really want at this moment, but it will be nice. And at the same time, I didn't want to let my heart go too deeply, because we love Hawaii, and we don't want to get like disappointed down the road if we're told no. So I took it that way. We went through the process, and through the process, then we realized, wow, we really, really feel the Lord is really making things happen. As you know, we didn't put any pressure. We didn't hustle on this. We just trusted God, the process, and we came to this day when we realized, yeah, everybody feel it. And the best way then I describe it, if I just quickly, because we Christian leaders, the way then the Lord helped me to think about this. We know the story of Abraham sacrificing his son Isaac, and we know the story when they go to the mountain, and Abraham knew from the very beginning that God was going to provide. And they're going on one side of the mountain. But sometimes what we miss in the story, there's another story happening. When there is a lamb somewhere with a desire to serve God, and the Lord is also, okay, lamb, I'm going to take you to a different place. And on the other side of the hill is the provision of God. Now, Abraham had no idea, and even Isaac have an idea. Then as they are obeying the Lord on their side, there's also this provision coming on the other side. And
beautiful metaphor.
And my prayer was always, Lord, HIM is seeking something from you. I am seeking something from you. I don't know if at the top of the hill we will be able to find ourselves. And I like to joke about it. Hey, I might be the sacrificial lamb on this, or maybe you will be the sacrificial lamb. We don't know yet.
Yes.
But what we know is then God was orchestrating things. I know in the HIM side, as I hear the stories of the journey, then took you there. My side of the story, and part of the confirmation in this was a fit, was to come to the top of the hill and realize here's the provision that God has.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, Pam and I are just so thrilled. You have our complete trust. We are so joyous about this. And, we said, oh, this is going to be a unicorn, to find the right person to do this, because it's kind of a complex job description. But
Correct.
You're it. So here's a big question.
Okay.
At the time we're recording this, hang on. I got to drink my Celsius to get my, almost Red Bull kind of fix. I wish this was product placement. Yeah, Celsius, would you give me $1 million to do this podcast? Okay. At the time we're recording this, you've been on the job for 3 days.
Yeah.
So what do you hope to accomplish in your first year? How's that for a question?
Well, that's a good question. I wish I know the answer.
Yeah, and grace and mercy abound because you just
Exactly.
arrived. 72 hours, and I'm asking
Exactly.
you the tough question that's going to be public in front of everybody.
No, I think it's a good question, but the answer probably doesn't come the way that we probably would like to hear it. Because we're used to like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. It's kind of like, we're used to that kind of answer. But the way that I would answer that is definitely what is going to probably happening is definitely we want to have a transition where we spend quality time listening to what God wants. We understand that the reason why there's this transition is everybody's discerning, and there's so many changes in the world, and then we need something new with HIM. Not because the past was bad, but because of the future cannot be embraced the way that we have approached the past. So many things have changed, So I've been meditating in this passage, then everybody knows it, everybody reads it when it's a change or a transition. When the Lord says, hey, I'm doing a new thing. And he even says, forget about the former things. And when we read that passage, sometimes we read, oh yeah, I want to forget about the pain and all the bad things. And no, God is saying, forget the good things. His context is, I took you out of the desert. I mean, I parted the seas for you. And that's an amazing thing. And Israel has been riding that height for forever. But he says, forget about those things because I'm doing a new thing. And I started to think about it. And I was like, Lord, what I think is the next might be not what you think is new. So, Lord, I'm willing to submit to what I think is next for what you want to be done here new. So I can tell you that what I will be accomplishing in the next few months starting here is we're gonna spend quality time with those stakeholders that are part of the HIM Ohana, the leaders of Hawaii, our spiritual leaders, those that have love what God is doing through HIM. And I think collectively we're going to discern together what is God saying. We have an idea, of course, of what of course, there is a sense of hunger for God that hasn't changed. Technology has changed. The way that we do the conference has changed. Events have changed. But definitely there is a bigger hunger for the things of God. I mean, you go just look around. The gospel is still the solution. So it's about discerning what HIM's role is in the gospel story in Hawaii for this season.
So if I'm a major stakeholder sitting in front of you, or a major donor, or a major volunteer worker, or major attender, they would probably ask a general question, knowing that you're going to listen, you said, and learn and pray. What would be, hopefully, ideally, your long-term goals and vision? Or is it still too early?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question. And of course, I have personal goals. Definitely, then HIM becomes a safe place for leaders to have conversations that are so important in today's society and world in which we live, then sometimes they cannot have. Look at how, when I was a pastor here 10 years ago, even talking about elections, I went through the second Bush election, the Obama election, the 2 terms, and the first Trump election. And as we progress, you sense a higher polarization, even within the church. It is really hard. You mentioned something politically, and you have 50% of the church is going to love you, another 50% is going to leave you. So there is that kind of pressure. So it's causing pastors to be very cautious about what to say, how to say it, which sometimes if we're not careful, we lose the calling of still speaking the gospel, speaking the truth to the things that we have seen. So, and there's a lot of things happening. A big thing right now that is confusing Christian leaders is how we're going to handle all the technology stuff that is changing, especially AI. Is it going to be like Skynet taking over the world with Terminator robots going all over? You know, a lot of people have that idea. Is this the beast and the Antichrist? And I can see how AI can be such a powerful tool to proclaim the gospel. You know,
Depends who's using it.
It depends on who use it. There's going to be ethical and moral things that we need, frameworks that we need to talk about. But pastors are not having that conversation.
So what did you mean safe place? Use the phrase, you want to create a safe place. What does that mean?
Yeah, so a safe place would be where you as a pastor can speak certain things or your opinions or your ideas without being judged, without being misunderstood, without being, labeled, pigeonholed, right? Oh, he's just a liberal. Oh, he's just a communist.
Learning to listen, too.
Exactly.
Not just learning how to speak your ideas.
I think the key word for me this season is to listen. I like to claim that when I was a pastor, I was an amazing listener. I thought I was, but the recent years have taught me that there's an area where I need to grow is to be a better listener, so I want to listen first and foremost, God, what He's saying. The problem is that if we keep going so fast as we normally go, God sometimes is speaking at a slower pace. The scripture talks a lot about walking with the Lord, not running with Him. So we need to go into that pace. I think I forgot his name, is a Japanese theologian, then wrote a book about the speed of God. I think it's called the 5 Mile God. I forgot. I need to get back to it.
5 Mile God.
Something like that.
On a bullet train in
Kosuke,
Tokyo.
I think is a Japanese. I mean, imagine a Japanese theologian who writes the 5 mile an hour God. I think it's 5 mile an hour God. I want to correct on that.
Saying go slow.
Correct.
In following God.
So, and it's because we don't like to listen. We say that we want to listen, but we want things fast, and we cannot have sometimes both. But so I would say definitely with to keep addressing your question is, we're going to really see HIM as a safe place where people can. We know how to listen. The world needs to see an example of what it looks like to have people with differences coming together, expressing things, and not hating each other, or not really being sarcastic or cynical or mean to one another, but really
learning together
and
hearing things that would stretch us.
And that's why I want to go. I mean, one of the things that I love about Hawaii, and I want my kids to grow up here, is because you have that in many ways. This is the only place that I've been in.
The diversity.
Exactly, where you can see a good, healthy sign is when people here have fun with each other. You try to go the same jokes in the mainland. Oh my God, you're racist. You're like this. No, here is so much fun, and I can be myself. I was a couple of days with one of my closest friends. All we did in this breakfast was laughing. So that tells you when you're in a safe place. You can have different opinions, but love each other at the end, and really, genuinely, not to say, I love you, brother. No, it really, you love and honor and respect the person that has a different opinion than yours.
So you're saying, hey, folks who are following HIM, we're going to learn together and laugh together.
Oh, I bet. I'm a little of a clown sometimes. So that will probably be there.
So why do you like to work with church leaders? And when I say church leaders, I don't mean necessarily clergy or the ordained. I mean all the lay leaders and small group leaders, Sunday school teachers, Why do you like to work with church leaders?
Man, first of all, I think personally, my dad, I saw the transformation of God in my dad's life. He's one of the most amazing Christian leaders. You probably will never hear his name as a big mega church pastor or a writer of whatever, or a man of too much influence. But when I saw what God did in the way that He had transformed the lineage in my family, it's amazing. So the impact. Imagine, Dan, then people that follow Christ really experience that kind of level of transformation in everywhere they are, not just the clergy folks, but the business leaders, the teachers that are followers of Christ. How different our world would be. Because there's a criticism towards the church, and I think is well-founded. Then there's no really big difference. You find, oh, my teacher is a Christian? Really? My manager is a Christian? Really? And there is a judgment on the church coming from unchurched people and says, hey, what you're saying and what Jesus is saying, it does not match who you are. And that's what we need to address. So my passion is to see Christian leaders first getting it. Because if they get it, it's
getting
contagious. Getting that sense of deep spirituality, transformational spirituality.
Yes.
Because I can be Pastor Fernando, supervisor, boss, whatever, but if I am just like everybody else and there's no transformation in me, I'm still don't know how to control my anger. I still do not know how to deal with my anxiety or my insecurities. But if people start seeing, oh, this guy might not be perfect, he's a believer, but look the way then his marriage looks like. Look at the way then he leads people, the way that he talks to people. Man, when I talk to Dan, I just like always feel like full.
That would be nice.
Yeah, right? So my heart is to help Christian leaders to get it first because they have circles of influence. Right. And you cannot just say, teach this to your people. Okay, this is how be, better Christian. No, is if you are, it's contagious. It's who you are, not what you teach, right? There's a lot of quotes about it. Hey, it's not who you say you are, it's what you really are.
That's why you like the spiritual exercises of like the Benedictines and
that changed my life.
Every day you just go through these exercises of self-reflection, getting to know Jesus more personally.
Dan, I did all the Christian stuff, and I will be honest with you, it was just took me less 2 inches deep with the Lord. But it wasn't until I connected with deep spirituality, with slow down spirituality, like some people call it, when you just really abandon yourself and go deeper. Then I found myself not blaming people or the culture or the devil, but I started to see God's love for a broken man like I am. And allowing, inviting me, Lord, fill me in these areas, change me, transform me. Now I can forgive like I couldn't forgive before. Now I can dream like I couldn't dream before. I can live my biases like I couldn't do before. So, which makes a big difference.
Hi, this is Dan Chun. Hey, something may have happened in this show that you think, man, I would love to share that with someone. So just hit the share button and I'll go to that person. Maybe they're going through something that would be really applicable to what you just heard. So go ahead, hit that share button.
Okay, one last question before I have tons of fun questions to end the podcast. And is, what excites you about working for HIM, and what might cause you some trepidation?
That's a good question. I'm excited about finding the setting, the ecosystem, the environment in which the Holy Spirit of God is going to move in the next season, in the new season. I'm excited about it. Because God is not done with us. There's great churches, there are great leaders, but we know that there's still a lot of need for the power of the gospel impacting all areas in our society. So I'm excited to see how HIM will be one of the many tools that God will use to do that. I'm excited to see not only happening in Hawaii, I can see that from Hawaii to the world. We always believe this in many Christian circles, especially if people that have been here in Hawaii for a while, then God wants to use the islands for a special purpose. That's why it's a gathering place. So many people come here to relax, to vacation, to enjoy. But this is a place of healing and transformation. It's not that God has a favorite place, but I think this is a very unique place. It's the most remote place in the world. And the gospel talks about until the ends of the earth. This is the ends of the earth. When you stand in Jerusalem and you want to look at in the map, where is the ends of the world?
Yeah.
Hawaii, right here, right?
Beyond Samaria.
Exactly.
The outer regions.
This is who we are.
Yeah.
So I really believe that in the next wave, we're going to see an amazing move of God from Hawaii to the world. That excites me. Now what is kind of crazy about it is
it's trepidation.
It's trepidation. It's like we're like, oh my goodness. Is then we will not have the spiritual depth to handle it right. Because when you study the history of the church, we have seen how God comes and does his work in amazing ways, but our lack of deep spirituality doesn't sustain it. He only goes for a few generations. That's why in our history we see waves of revival. And that's understandable because we're not meant to do things forever. But my hope is that it will not be a trend, and it will not be a thing. It's not a thing, because Fernando did it or HIMYM did it. But my hope is that it's not a shallow thing, that it's not a temporary thing, that it's just a hype thing. Then it's not just, a good event, and we did a conference and many people came and, we did it. No, then it's something that goes really deep. I don't want to spend the next few years that I have left serving the Lord just investing something is not gonna be a lasting impact.
That's wonderful.
I would love to just see this going and going and going.
And I just heard a podcast, Carrie Newhoff, on the Asbury Revival. Yeah. And the preacher who preached that day, his wife said, how'd it go? And he said, his word was, my sermon was a real stinker.
Exactly.
It was a real stinker. And suddenly this thing happens. And he's so humble as he tells the story, and then he just says, we don't even want to call it the Asbury Revival. We want to call it the outpouring of the Spirit. Yes. Because revival, only when you've been 20 years later, you look back, say that was a revival. So even in humility, he was just saying it was an outpouring of the Spirit. So that's amazing. So we've heard all this great stuff. Some parts, I know you're going to be learning and listening for the first few months. Some parts of the vision, your hope, the core values of HIM. And again, Pam and I are so thrilled. The board unanimously voted for you. So excited. And you have our full trust and joy. Yeah. But now, just to close off, I want to ask you some questions, and this will be rapid fire.
Okay.
I was watching the Stephen Colbert show, who is a late night host, if people don't know who that is, and he has these questions that he asks the celebrities who come, the guests who come on. Okay. And so I wanted to adapt some of those and throw them at you just for fun. So we're all beginning the journey to getting to know Fernando.
Okay.
And so this is, at the end of these 15 questions or so, we will know Fernando a bit better. Okay, you ready?
Okay, here we go.
Best sandwich?
Anything with turkey and avocado.
Wow. Okay. What's one thing you own that you really should throw out?
Something that I don't know I should throw out? Oh, my wife would say yes to this. A bunch of stuff in my garage. I just need to clean my garage. I have tons of stuff that I don't even use. And I think I'm going to use one day, but it's been like 10 years, so I need to probably get rid of that stuff. Oh, I have tools. I have... I should probably give them away to someone that is going to use them. I have tools that I have used in 12 years.
So before you move from Nashville, could you please give away? So
that's why my wife is excited about going through things, because he's like, I want just a small container, whatever he fits in here, we're going to take home.
Okay, next question. What is the scariest animal?
Oh, the bobcats. Anything cat, especially the bobcats, because they're big cats. I'm not a cat person.
Apples or oranges?
Apples.
Pineapple or mango?
Oh, that's a hard one. Mango and pineapple mixed together. They're good. Mango. Let's go for mango.
Mango shake.
Mango.
Smoothie.
There we go.
Have you ever asked someone for their autograph?
No, I feel awkward about
Never?
it. No.
Never?
No. I probably did. I did ask you for your autograph maybe one time. I remember. No, I was in a plane, on my plane here. I was in the same plane. I was not a big celebrity. His name is Theo Vaughn. Some people may know who he is, especially the younger folks. And my son really likes this guy. He's a podcaster, comedian. He was 2 seats in front of me. And I thought about if I'm going to get something from him, a picture, an autograph, it would be just for my son. But that's so weird. Hey, can you get this for my son?
So you didn't do it?
No, I never did. I couldn't do it.
But, you know, today, maybe we don't do autographs. We do selfies.
Yeah, that's the thing today, right? People, that's what they've said. And I feel awkward. The guy was in the plane. He was kind of resting.
Taylor Swift was on my plane. Hey, baby, let's take one.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Next question. Favorite book of the Bible?
Oh, man, that's hard. But I have to be honest. There's something about the Psalms.
The Psalms. Oh, you're such a poetic archetype.
Oh, yes. He gets me. He gets me every time. I try to read a Psalm every day. So.
Okay. Favorite action movie?
Okay, we're going to lose some followers here now. I love the John Wick movies.
The John Wick movies.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, you're such a
spiritual
man.
Just imagine this. You kill his dog and take his car.
Yeah.
You deal with the most precious things that it can be.
You have a dog.
Exactly.
I have a dog. Well, man, you mess around with... They're a child to us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. What number am I thinking of?
7?
No.
Okay.
Favorite smell?
Favorite smell? Oh, my wife's smell. My wife. I love to be closer. She smells always so good.
Least favorite smell?
Oh, yikes. Least favorite smell.
This is a family show now.
Yeah, this is a family show now. It's kind of like, I cannot handle it. Rotten food, definitely.
Rotten food. Okay. What's your favorite exercise?
Well, I'm not an exercise buff, but if there's something that I enjoy for exercise, definitely is racket sports, tennis.
Okay. You don't do pickleball.
Pickleball.
Man, you do pickleball.
I'm gonna get into pickleball. All my best friends are pickleball geeks, so we're gonna probably get into it.
Okay. Flat or sparkling?
Sparkling.
Most used app on your phone?
The most used app in my phone. I think I open constantly. Well, daily I have a app that helps me with my. I do intermittent fast, so I have an app that tracks my meals. I open that every day.
You're so spiritual.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. I'm probably Facebook every day, at least for 15 minutes. That's my limit. So I try to be on that, on Facebook and Instagram too, LinkedIn now, but mostly my other app.
Okay. You get one song to listen for the rest of your life. What is it?
Every Breath You Take by Police.
Oh, my gosh. Stung by that one. And now, last one. Describe the rest of your life in 5 words.
The rest of my life in 5 words. A man that follows God.
Amen. Well, podcast viewers, you have heard. And know, Fernando Castillo, more better than ever before. Just starting the first chapter of getting to know you. Again, HIMYM leaders, the board, Pam and I, incredibly joyful, incredibly happy. And to think you even have an architectural degree, so you know how to design and build and plan and meticulously make sure what are the weight-bearing walls to get us going in this next year. So on behalf of all of the viewers and the HIMYM family, Fernando, welcome to the HIMYM family, and we look forward to following your leadership as you follow the Lord.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks,
God
everybody.
God bless you, and to everybody for the HIMYM podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. And boy, if you can subscribe or be a follower, boy, click that button, and that would be awesome. Or better yet, if you can donate and make sure this podcast is sustainable. So anyway, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for getting to know Fernando, and God bless you all. Aloha.